Welcome back to Inside East African Politics. Right now in northern Ethiopia, a single political maneuver has pushed a fragile region back to the edge of active conflict. To understand the gravity of the situation, we have to look back to the 2022 Pretoria Agreement. That treaty officially ended a devastating 2-year war, establishing a baseline of peace for the millions of people living in the region. A key condition of that peace deal was the creation of a federally backed interim administration. Led by Lieutenant General Tadesse Worede, this interim body was tasked with governing the region during the post-war transition. But in May 2026, the Tigray People's Liberation Front, or TPLF, made a bold, unilateral move. They bypassed the interim administration entirely and reinstated the pre-war Regional Council, the exact political body the peace deal had specifically suspended. During its first new session, this reinstated council held a vote. By a large majority, they elected TPLF chairman Debretsion Gebremichael as the new regional president. Look at this map to see the structural crisis this creates. The region is now fracturing into a state of dual tower. Tigray suddenly has 2 competing administrations operating over the exact same territory, and each one claims ultimate legitimate authority over the government. The TPLF did not reinstate this council out of nowhere. They executed this move as a highly calculated retaliation against the federal government in Addis Ababa. According to the TPLF leadership, the federal government broke the rules of the Pretoria deal first through a series of administrative delays and financial maneuvers. Specifically, the TPLF claims the federal government has intentionally withheld critical budgetary subsidies from the region. On top of the financial strain, Addis Ababa unilaterally extended the mandate of that interim government without consulting the regional leaders. There are severe military grievances attached to this as well. Key territorial disputes in western Tigray remain completely unresolved, and the promised disarmament and reintegration processes for local fighters have stalled out. By reviving the old council in response to these grievances, the TPLF draws a hard line. They treat key elements of the Pretoria Peace Framework as void and no longer legally binding. The collapse of this legal framework instantly creates a dangerous vacuum over who actually holds functional day-to-day power over civil servants, budgets, and security forces. That vacuum is now playing out on the ground in Tigray's capital city, Mekelle. The political standoff in the council chambers is already spilling into the streets. Residents report extreme nervousness. Recently, grenade explosions have gone off near regional administrative offices, raising the immediate threat level for civilians. The escalation extends to the airspace overhead. Observers have confirmed recent sightings of federal military aircraft circling the region. Down on the ground, armed elements of the Tigray Defense Forces have begun mobilizing, matching the federal activity and adding highly trained fighters to an already volatile atmosphere. The territory is locked into a heavily armed physical standoff. Thousands of soldiers are currently stationed in a region that suddenly has 2 potential commanders. So, does this collapse in leadership guarantee a return to the devastating violence we saw between 2020 and 2022? The short answer is no. Millions of people in Tigray remain exhausted by the immense loss of life and destruction from the previous war. Furthermore, severe internal divisions between Debretsion's loyalists and factions backing the interim administration make it highly difficult for Tigray to launch a unified, large-scale military offensive. But we can see the immediate danger if we look at this risk matrix. While full-scale war is unlikely, the current power vacuum makes localized violence and intense factional clashes highly probable. The first major tripwire that could ignite these clashes is federal enforcement. If Addis Ababa forcibly cuts off all regional funds or deploys the national military to prop up the interim government, fighting will almost certainly break out. The remaining tripwires exist locally. Rival Tigrayan security factions could trigger a cascade of violence through a single miscalculated skirmish. There is also the constant threat of spillover violence from external actors positioned in the disputed border areas, like Eritrea or Amhara forces. The post-war order has fractured. International partners are urging restraint, but the immediate responsibility to either de-escalate this crisis or trigger the tripwires now rests squarely with the federal government. Thanks for watching. If you want to keep tracking this developing story and other global geopolitical shifts, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel.